Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to another video. I'm committed to coming back to YouTube, so the best way to get some momentum is to do it. Just do it. All right, look, today we're going to look at Evil Ernie. I'm actually really excited to look at this stuff. So, Brian Pulido, very prolific self-publisher, has been around as far as I know since probably the early 90s, if not maybe the late 80s. My first exposure to him was this exact comic. I don't remember if I bought it new off the stands, but this was the first book that I ever saw of Evil Ernie, and it was cool. It was different. It had some kind of balls to it. It felt a little heavy metal and kind of punk rockish, and was just fun. There really wasn't any other publisher other than Chaos Comics that kind of did stuff like this. I'm painting in very broad strokes. What I mean by that is there was other edgy stuff, to be clear, but there was a commercial sensibility to this that crossed over a little bit. But like looking at this cover, although this isn't Stephen T. Hughes's art, it's Joe Quesada, funny enough, and Jimmy Palmiotti. But like my first thought when I saw this was the colors kind of reminded me of like maybe something Keith Giffen would have done at the time, like Trencher. You obviously had people like Simon Bisley. I mean, Stephen T. Hughes was a really good penciler, and he sadly passed away in 2000. So he's been gone for a long time. It's actually very sad because he really created a legacy with Evil Ernie and Lady Death. And I don't know the whole origin of stuff, so if I get some of the details wrong, I'm not going to try to guess on stuff. I'll always be very clear if I don't know something. But I believe that Brian and Steven sort of created this universe. Now, that could be wrong, but that would be my guess. And the one kind of cool thing about Brian in particular is the fact that he's really stuck with this brand, whatever you want to call it, for God, going on 35 years. It could even be longer for him, but I really respect that. I mean, there's something to be said about longevity in this business, and really just like creating something, being passionate about it, and just continuing to work on it and create more legacy with it. So, all right, with that, let's start at the beginning. I've got about I don't know, maybe 45 pages worth of art to look at. It's not the full mini series, but it's pretty good. But so this is the cover of the book we're going to look at. So this is the Resurrection. This is like a compilation. You can see this cover is 92, which falls into my 1992 concept. If you watched my videos yesterday, and I am working on it. I already started working on it this morning, so I'll have updates on that as we move along too, and Blaster Kit updates. But this is a great cover. It's really cool. This was really interesting too, but we'll get into this in a second. But the inker on this book surprised me. It really surprised me. In fact, I didn't realize that who inked this book, but you'll recognize the name if you've been around comics for a while. All right, let's see. Let's look at this in a little more detail. I really like this smiley face. I think the colors are fantastic. I'm guessing it's marker. I could be wrong on that, but again, I did say I'm guessing. It doesn't. There is like a canvas. Maybe it's painted. You know what? I think it's painted because this is canvas. Canvas. But yeah, no, I see canvas, so I'm going to say this is painted. I take it back. Everything I said before was wrong. This is the new me. The hands are nice. He's got good thumb. He gives good thumb here. Evil Ernie's cool looking. And, all right, let's continue. Oh, you know what? I think I just figured out a trick to trick Photoshop. That's interesting. All right, here's the back cover of the book, and this is. So it looks like the colors are by someone named Jensen. We'll get the name when we get inside. But yeah, it was funny as I was looking at something yesterday, and it reminded me of the like Eddie, the mascot for Iron Maiden, and it wasn't this. It was something else that I saw, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm like they kind of have like a mascot like Eddie, and it might have been something from Continuity. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, but Yeah, it's interesting. Let's chat. I want to check out the hands. I was saying yesterday that I'm kind of obsessed with faces, but I'm also obsessed with hands right now. How people handle like the top of the hands in particular. Okay, let's continue. All right. We got a couple of pages of credits we can just look at really quick. So these are the names of the chapters. Very, like even it's got that I can't remember, Freak Show font, I think it's called, maybe. Sort of the melting sort of 1 point perspective letters. I think it's a 1 point, maybe not. All right, let's continue. Little dedication. Still treating his readers with respect 35 years later. All right. Interesting. So the office coordinator is Kelly Jensen, but I'm gonna go on record to say that the one piece was signed by Jensen, so she may also have colored the book. We'll see as we see more credits. Here we go. Oh, color says Tom Smith. Oh, how funny. Tom Smith has been around a while. Look, cover 2 by Chris Boccolo. We've got a Capullo. Ooh, this is going to be exciting. Jim Ballant, pinup. George Perez. Roman Morales. I remember that name. So this was what was interesting to me, though. Mark Morales was the inker on this. I had no idea that Mark Morales inked Evil Ernie. That really surprised me. Like, he's been working a long time. I remember seeing Bat on Vampirella after the fact. Like, I knew him as Bat, but then I knew his real name was Matt Banning. And yeah, I was looking at some old Vampirella issue from maybe the early 90s or late 80s, and Bat had inked it under Matt Banning. And it was kind of cool. I was like, oh shit, like, okay, that makes a little more sense of why when I first discovered his work, he was so damn good. So the first time I saw him was when he took over for Scott Williams on Cyberforce, and I was just like, holy shit, this guy is insane. But Mark Morales is great too. So there you go. All right, so here's the Casada cover. I really like this. Casada's got a very, very fun style. It's like he can sometimes now, like, it can almost look a little what would you call it, photorealistic, but it's always got a lot of like shadow and good detail. It's always really dynamic, and then he's got kind of like a angular sort of evil spooky thing that he kind of is able to squeeze in. It's great stuff. But yeah, I like this cover a lot. Yeah, the Fruit Loops colors on this, I don't know, for some reason reminded me of Keith Giffen a little bit. This is another cover towards the back of the book. It's nice. It's a little more what would you call it? Like these guys kind of have a McFarlane vibe, but like this is very like attractive 90s female cartooning art. We'll save that cover. All right, so here we go. Here's some of the interiors. Let's get to this. Man, I haven't seen this stuff in forever. We can just go full screen mode. We don't really need to go in order for this. Back in the day. Okay, we got this cover. We can. Besides the obvious reasons why people like Lady Death, I honestly do think that she is a pretty cool design for a character. Like, I like a lot of the aesthetics that they use on her. I think are actually kind of cool. So, although she has gigantic breasts, past that, she's pretty cool looking. The face is great. Let's see. It was funny is when the files were opening, I was kind of glancing at some of the pieces that were coming by. At times, I was getting a little bit of like a Captain Stern, Bernie Brightson sort of thing. Wasn't like exactly, but it wouldn't surprise me if Steven was a fan of Bernie's work. I definitely want to look at some of the continuity books too from this era. If you've never seen like Armor or Megalith or Samari, there's a whole bunch of books that they did. They're pretty badass. There's a lot of really really good artists that work for them, but it's man, it's some detailed shit. Hybrids. Like the wall like line. So these guys look to be based out of Arizona, which I don't know if that's interesting to you, but I thought it was kind of cool because he's still out there, I believe. This guy's got kind of a Bruce Campbell thing going on, which would make sense if you think about it, because those movies came out probably in the late '80s. Yeah, I bet it was a little bit of an inspiration for this. So that's very Bruce Campbell. I noticed that one of the comics I looked to was dedicated to Steven's son Chance. This is early on. This is like in the early '90s. So Chance, more likely than not, would be in his man. He could be in his 30s or early 40s now. It's pretty crazy. Steven would be. He passed away. He was 46, I think it said when he passed away, and that was 2000. So he'd be 71. 25 years. Yeah, he'd be like 71 now. It's crazy. He was good. I remember seeing him at I believe at a San Diego Comic Con. I wasn't probably a professional at the time, or yeah, I don't think I was a professional at the time, so I didn't really go up and like talk to him. But I always liked his stuff. I always thought it was cool. There's Lady Death. Boom, boom. I like the colors on this. This too. This is great. Crowd scenes are can be a bitch. Like this obviously is its own challenge, but what I'm talking about is like this kind of thing. Or I've had to draw stuff like that, and it's like can be kind of you have to sort of make a plan of attack when you go into it, because whatever you decide, you're gonna have to basically commit to for potentially several hours of your life. So choose wisely how you're gonna like how much detail and how much shadow, etc. you're gonna put on them, or things like this. These are fairly simple faces though, so it wouldn't be as bad. I like this castle stuff. This is like some of my favorite stuff that I'm seeing right now. Is I like this with all these people. It's very very cool. And look, the bottom line too is like reading the comics always makes it better. It's real easy to just look at art and kind of be like, I like this, or this doesn't work for me, or whatever it is. But when you read the book and kind of get into the story, it can really kind of take on a new life and meaning. So like for me, researching the '90s, early '90s like comic stuff, I'm not just looking at the art, I'm reading the stories, and I'm trying to get into the mindset of what that landscape was like in terms of creators, the stories, um, how it all worked together in terms of like, the Valiant universe or the continuity universe or the Malibu Universe or Defiant or whatever company it is, you know, and just kind of seeing like how it all existed as a whole. Like his hands are pretty badass. Like the bones, like this is cool. This is really nice. This is nice too. Uh, Good shit. All right, let's shut this. I think I remember collecting the Lady Death comic too, and actually the first issue had a chromium cover, or whatever the first issue of the series that I grabbed. I don't know if I still have that stuff. It's kind of like some of it bums me out because I think about it and I'm like, I know I had that, but like, do I still have it? Because there were definitely times where I would thin out my collection and different means. Some I won't say because people will be like, "Oh God, no." But I did throw away comics. We'll recycle them, but a few times I remember feeling like literally like a waist high, like freaking, one of those like recycle bins, like full of comics. I've done it a couple of times actually. Oof. I don't even want to know what I got rid of, to be honest. Like, it's like it was a long time ago, but I was just like, I had so many long boxes of comics because I had bought in collections off people too. And oh god, what was I thinking? It's like, it's been 10 years. None of these books have any value now. I'm just gonna like, wasn't like old Amazing Spider-Mans or something like that, but some of the more in between stuff or whatever. God. There's a weird part of me though that goes like, if I had it all now, it would be a nightmare. It would be cool because like it'd be fun to look at them once, but then it's like you look at them once and you just at that point you like, I'm gonna wait another 15 or 20 years to look at them again. I mean, it gets a little crazy. Man, this is great. That's really cool. Yeah, ink by Mark Morales. What a trip. It makes me curious too. Then is I wonder if Mark Morales lived in Arizona. He just might have, and it's really interesting that it's Tom Smith colors because I've seen Tom online for geez, I don't know, at least 20 years. Oh, that's a cool cover. Damn. Oh, this is Bacalo. Holy shit, man! I've never seen this cover. This is great. Wow, what a cool piece. Evil Ernie's hair is crazy. He's got like he looks like he's in the MC5 or like Mars Volta. It's like a little Phil Phil Lennart from Thin Lizzy too. That this is such a badass piece. Oh my god, I love this. This is great. It's all. I wonder. I don't think so. I don't remember ever hearing of it, and I've looked up Chris a million times to find his earlier work. But he would have done a great like one shot. Oh my god, it would have been fucking insane. This is really cool. And I'll have links to Brian's all of the Chaos Comics like social media and stuff like that, so you can support them or follow them if you kind of dig this. And this book was done 34 years ago, and they were self-publishing, which is really impressive. So it sounds weird, but I mean, essentially, like if you're self-publishing, Brian was a probably more likely paying Steven out of his own pocket to draw this stuff, and paying Tom Smith to color it, and paying Mark to ink it, unless everyone was working with the mindset of that, hey, like if the book does well, we'll split the money. I mean, I'm speculating just as a fan, but that's impressive. You know what I mean? I there was a small company in San Diego that I kind of hooked up with for a second, maybe about a year before I broke in. It was like I'd kind of mentioned in the video before. So I started collecting comics in '92. I think like May of '92, and I collected comics for probably like 6 to 10 months, and then I stopped for a bit because my band was going on tour, so I would be gone for a while, and we did 3 U.S. tours. So between the three, I was gone for a while, and there's prep and all that. I did collect comics a little tiny bit while I was on the road at like truck stops, like spinner racks. But yeah, so I stopped, and then once that kind of had wrapped up, then when I got back, there was pages a company had sent me out of the blue. They didn't even ask me if I was available to ink them, but I had sent samples, and they basically sent me original art to ink. And I was like, well, I might as well do it. It's here. It was very weird. Like, that's a trippy way to get a job, but literally they just mailed it to me out of the blue. They never contacted me and, confirmed that I was available. And it was I don't remember how long it was, but it was still very weird. Like, even now I think of it and I'm like, God, like, who the hell does that? It's Caliber Press too, honestly, which is they're a legit company, but yeah, they sent me pages just literally, without even confirming that I would do them, and then I think I called them when I got them, and anyway, but the point being is self-publishing. You know, to do a book, pencils, inks, colors, even if you're paying a low rate, that would add up to a lot of money. So Brian really was gambling, which is, something to respect. Oh, this is nice. I like the red costume. This is cool. Her stockings look like they were bought at Hot Topic. Although Hot Topic, I don't even know if it exists. And actually, these gutters are cool. This is a nice page. I bet, honestly, I bet some of this original art would go for. Oh, this is great too. I bet a lot of this original art would go for a lot of money, to be honest, because Chaos comic fans are hardcore, and I'm sure some will find this video. Brian may even see this video. And yeah, I mean, they have one of the loyalist followings in comics, period. My friend draws La Muerta, Joel Gomez, who worked at Wildstorm, and he always is very, very complimentary towards the Brian Pulido fans, that they're some of the best fans, loyal. So it's very, very cool. This is nice lettering too, to be honest. I actually really like this. Um, I'm looking at this. I wonder. This actually could be hand lettered, which is so impressive. I mean, obviously, like in the 80s and 70s. God, is it? I'm looking at the lettering and I'm just like comparing letters. I think it's hand lettered. Like, these M's all look a little different to me. They're very, very close, but there's a slight variation of them. And these look hand lettered, but really, really nicely done. Whoever they got to letter this book is like really, really great. Yeah, it's super impressive. I've always been kind of, well, it's interesting. The eye is really similar here. Huh. It's hard to say because it's a little pixely, but the eye is almost identical. But obviously, I mean, that's the point of a letter, is to see. But this eye is different. Everyone's like, Rich, just move along. Who cares? I care. It's why we do the videos. Yeah, the eyes are different. Because, well, these are capital I's, and then when he writes enthusiasm, the I isn't capitalized. So I'm going with this is hand lettered, and the lettering is fantastic. These are lowercase. Huh, it's interesting. Now I'd have to go back and see why in the inside of that word it was capitalized. I understand in the English language when I's get capitalized and not, but Lady Death. All right. Yeah, this is cool. Yeah, when he does I's, they're capital I's. Is it? I'm obsessed with this. No, well, if you look at this M is slanting to the right, and this one is more upright. And then this one actually is a little bit more of a swoop right there. The forensic calligraphologist Richard Friend has made his final decision that this is hand lettered. Those are cool. Oh man, this guy is a great letter. Guy or girl? Megadeth. What? Yeah, so if you've ever heard the story of how Megadeth got their band name, Dave was being sent home from Metallica in New York, and he saw a flyer on the bus. It said something about 100 million warheads of Megadeth gonna kill us all. And that was that. Time to kill. Still weak. All right. This was a nice change of pace. And also, I did say, like, if you'd like to recommend some books to look at, like modern, like super old school vintage, 80s, 90s, 70s, whatever it is, let me know. I'm always interested to check out other things and see how it goes. Always the abusive person. It's funny because they're always like flashbacks too. I don't know if this is a flashback in the story, but it kind of feels like it might be the way that the panels are all inset, like broken glass or something like that. In Deadshot, Suicide Squad Most Wanted, I did with Victor Bogdanovic, and there was like a whole sequence of how Deadshot became Deadshot, and like his dad was like an asshole that would like beat the kids, and so young Deadshot decides that he's gonna take matters into his own hands, and I won't spoil what happens, but pretty gnarly origin story. That's great. Yeah, this is really fun art. I like it. It's got the perfect blend of underground and overground. All right, I'm almost done. Now I'm gonna get to work. Work, 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 work. Ernie's bored. The audio sounded pretty good. The only thing that I noticed when I was listening to it on headphones back was the left speaker or whatever, like the way I had my headphones on the left. One of the speakers was a little quieter for some reason. I'm not really sure why. The balance should be equal, but anyway, the audio sounded pretty good and pretty clean. So that was the main goal. All right, so look, you can see I'm back. This isn't a one and done thing. I posted 2 videos yesterday. We've got one today. I'll definitely do one tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Probably the weekend I'll take off. Maybe squeeze one in Saturday. And then I'll be back Monday with something. So we'll get it rolling. I'm not sure how many videos I'll do a week, but I kind of do it like impulsively, so I'll figure it out. But I definitely am not going to try to vanish Not that I intentionally did before. Like I said, the reason that there was a break on YouTube was I took, like, I had a weekend or something where I was too busy, and then just the next week I was like, you know what, I'm too busy, I can't do videos. And once I was out, it was really, really difficult to get back into it. So there was never any, like, sort of like, reason that I left, to be clear, other than over a period of time that my stepdad had cancer and was not doing well, and some other stuff happened. So anyway, but all right, okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day, and I love you all. And make some comics or read some comics. Read some Chaos comics. I'll have links in the description box below. All right, talk to you later. Bye.